Hi guys, I'm Becca Otis from Five Lines Pottery, and I'm located in Van.
And I'm Ryan Durbin from RD Ceramics, located in Highland Heights, Kentucky.
And welcome to Wheel Talk. Did it. Got it.
Got it. We're live.
We're live. Hello. Hi.
Hi.
Has it been a
It's
while?
been a while.
It's been a while since we've had the one-on-one.
Yeah. Yeah, last time we saw each other, we talked with Ashley. But yeah, you and I haven't chatted in a bit.
Lindy, you're next.
Which has been kind of it's been kind of nice having a little break, and
it's flowed quite nicely. I feel like we've kind of needed this because I was telling somebody recently, I was like, we're coming on 4 years. Like, and you remember when Paul Blaze interviewed us, and he's like, how the fuck do you guys keep coming up with content? And we're like, I don't fucking know. I feel like we're at the point where if we don't start interviewing a lot more people, we're fucked. Like...
But I feel like there's no shortage of people that we want to talk to. It's just reaching out and making, even if it's just not the recycling's not the right word, but getting people back that we've talked to before and like catching up, and also like digging a little deeper, because things change so quickly with, even if people just listening to us, like, you have changed significantly in like what you've been doing just in the time we've been together. So like everybody else is doing the same thing.
It's so interesting to hear. Like, it's funny, the people that have been like listening since the beginning. P.S. If you haven't caught on, our 4-year anniversary is August 22nd, which is fucking wild.
Yes.
Wild. Like, I can't believe we're the best fucking team there is. The fact that we are still friends is just insane to me. But like, I feel like the people that have started with us and from the beginning and have like gone through this journey with us, like, in time, as opposed to the people that listen to it all at once and they're like, holy shit. It would be like a frog boiling in water, you know, like throwing it in hot water or like letting it get warm.
Yeah, it's not something that most people are just gonna grab onto immediately. I think there was somebody that messaged us or commented on something that said they just found the podcast and started listening to episode 1. And I'm like,
a lot of people start from the beginning, which I'm a fan of. I do that with other podcasts too. I like to start at the beginning. It's a lot easier to start at the beginning of a podcast when the podcasters have other podcasts and they're not like learning as they go, but that's exactly what we did.
When the podcasters have
like
other
they come
podcasts.
Together and they're like, this is our third podcast, but not together. Like, Terry does 2 podcasts and I do 1 podcast. So they're already like in the podcast world.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. And they can hear us from ground zero, like,
right.
Out of the gate.
I feel like we say a lot less now. I would hope so.
I would hope so.
Maybe not. Maybe we don't.
I say like a lot.
I
regardless.
yawn an equal amount.
Do you? I don't remember your yawn frequency.
My yawn frequency was really high back in the day. I have learned to hide it a lot easier now. See, there.
Or you'll just laugh or you'll tell everybody in case they didn't know.
Yeah. Oh, goodness. Fucking podcasts. It's so funny when I'm just like, oh, yeah, so I have a podcast, and everybody's like, oh, okay. Because everybody our age has a podcast, so, you know, it's...
Yeah, it's very common, and it feels kind of weird to volunteer that information. Because I feel like it's something that I don't know, if it's a peer of mine, they'll be like, "How long have you been making?" And it'll be like 2007, and I've been selling since 2016. But I don't really volunteer the, "Oh, by the way, I've been hosting a podcast since
Neither do I.
2019 or
Neither do I.
20 or 2018." Like, it's not something I add to my list of accolades that I tell people when I'm like getting
Right.
introduced or something. It sounds, I don't know, it sounds
For
kind of
reals.
ego sort of
The
thing
only
to
time
say
that I
that.
actually add it into conversation is when it actually applies to something. Well, I'll be like, yeah, I do a podcast and my
Yes.
buddy who I do it with, like, blah, 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 blah. Like, we talked about this last week or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, or if there's a show that I'm at and somebody's asking questions about how do you find out art shows you do, and I'll be like, "Oh, by the way, like here's how I find them out." But
Right.
also, I host a podcast. You should check it out. We've talked about
Yeah.
that a number of times, and you'll be easily
Yeah.
like in a sea of content related to this
I
specific
definitely
topic.
tell more people I have a podcast while I'm at a show than any other time. Just because it's like new potters or blah blah blah, and I'm like, by the way, I do a podcast. Here you go. like, you might learn
Yeah.
something, you may not. Who knows? But yeah.
Right.
Well, we're not gonna do like a normal format because it is our 4th-year anniversary.
Yeah. We had a new review though. Do you want to?
Yeah.
I want
You
to read that
me to
real
read it, or
quick
do you read it?
because it was fun.
Okay.
I'll read it. All right. This one came from UA Nash. Beginning of July. It's titled "I Always Learn Something." As a newbie, I always learn something new on the podcast. Listening has turned into a Saturday morning ritual while drinking my morning coffee. I love the new 2-hour format. Side note, is that a new format? When did we start 2 hours?
I feel like we're
it
getting
was
less.
forever ago. But
Yeah, I feel
less
like
than 2
we're
hours?
doing a lot more 1-hour ones.
I guess
Yeah.
the live Q&A maybe.
Anyway.
Okay, continuing. I like I very much like the interview with Link Henderson, so informative. This week I learned why beer steins must be very smooth on the inside. I'm always
Yep.
learning something. That was a good little
That was a
little
good
tip
little
there.
tip.
That beer steins.
Props to
great.
my beer buddies, because I would have never known that they had to be smooth on the inside.
Yeah. So you got to make friends with the
Yeah,
brewers and stuff.
wild.
That it's been forever since we talked with Link. I feel like we could
I
we
know,
could
that
chat
was
with
a
her again
really
sometime and
fun
get some
conversation.
Yeah, very informative, very like deep on clays and
Yeah.
materials and stuff that I could not
Yeah.
have prepared for, but
For sure.
pretty good. So thank you for that, UA Nash.
You know what? Also, I'm just throwing this out there, and I don't know. I know somebody that works at Amico, and he's on the technical end of like the glaze part, and that would be fun to have him on. Yeah, get some
Yeah.
like weird words that we don't know exist.
That's not. I know like Corey Brown is an artist that like formulates the newest Amico glazes every year whenever they uh, premiere them at Enseca. Do you know who I'm talking about? The guy that he made a lot of like multicolored.
Right. Yeah.
He put porcelain on stuff and like rolled it on. Now he's doing more
Yeah.
like glaze dripping and like lichen looking glazes kind of, and but it's somebody different that you're talking about. Is it the
I'm
guy
not
that we
gonna
talked to
say
at Clayton West?
fucking who it is, because then if we don't get it, then
Oh, okay. Okay.
anyway,
That's fine.
onward and upward.
Onward. One funny story that related to the podcast, there was somebody that I was talking to that they didn't know you as well, and I was like, yeah, I do a podcast with Becca, and I was like, yeah, she used to like own a studio, and then she moved to Indianapolis, and then she's in her van now, so you can see like all the trajectory like throughout the years, and I was like, I feel like I haven't really changed that much over that whole time. I feel like I've been like slow and steady.
You're like a, you're like an, you're like an EFT stock. You just like keep climbing up. You're an index
I'm
fund,
an
yeah.
index fund. I'm like slow and steady.
And I'm Apple. No, I'm Amazon.
You're just like a single stock.
Down and up and down and up and down. Yeah. There's been a lot. What have you been doing? I do feel like we should talk about what we've been doing this week because I have some stories for you.
Yes. Okay, so I was just in Kansas for 3 days. And it was a long ass drive.
Yeah, like, does everybody live in Ohio that went with you?
Yeah, so we met up. It was myself, Megan Yarnell, and Tony Young. So Tony is in Marion, Ohio, which is kind of near Columbus, which is 2 hours north of me. There is Meg that is in Toledo area, which is 3.5 hours north of me. And then I'm in near Cincinnati. So we met at somebody's house, Megan's family's house, in kind of near Dayton. So it was like an hour from me, 2.5 for her,
and they took your car.
Tony. So we were playing so we just took one car. We took my car. We were playing around with where to meet up because we were having to wake up at the ass crack of dawn to meet anyways because it was a 14-hour drive there, and we were doing it all in one day. So, we were gonna meet in Indianapolis, and she was like, "Well, I don't really know like where to leave the vehicle," and I was like, "I can find somebody, but also like we should probably meet like Dayton would make the most sense because we'll get together quickest, and then we'll all get on our way." So. I feel like the drive there wasn't too bad. The drive back was more because we met up at like 8 in the morning when we left, and then when we were coming back home, it was noon, 11 o'clock by the time we left. So we got back at
oh shit, fuck that
2 in the morning. To that person's house. And then I had an hour drive, so I got home at 3. Or maybe it's 1 a.m. or something. I trimmed off some time, so 2:30 or something. But I got home at 2:30. Meg got home at like fucking 4 a.m.
That's rough.
Was it fun? Such a long drive. It was very fun. So that was so the whole workshop idea was Kevin Kowalski. If you don't know his work, he does a lot of soda-fired work. He does some oxidation work. But he's kind of known for building conversion kilns, as in like electric kilns converted to soda kilns. So we built one on site at Isaac Shoe's studio. So he kind of got everything ready. He did a bunch of construction there with some, clearing the area, pouring a slab of concrete. So we built the kiln day one, like morning of day one. Afternoon we glazed and wadded everything. Evening, right at sundown, we loaded the kiln, and then day 2 morning we fired the kiln all day, and we were just kind of like doing collaborative work in the studio. We just kind of had an open studio day to do whatever we wanted because a lot of that time you're just checking on the kiln and just doing little tweaks, turning things up. Kevin did most of the like firing and stuff. He would just kind of help us out and tell us what he was doing and why he was doing it. And the firing took about 11 hours. So, you can imagine quite a bit of open studio time to just do whatever. So we did a lot of like collaborating. I threw some mugs and oil bottles and stuff like that and handed them off to somebody. So like Meg put one of her handles on my mugs. I put a handle on one of her mugs. Brian Wilkerson carved into one of mine. Nathan Pauls did some like sculpting face thing on one of mine. Andrea Garcia was there and did some sculpting, hand building, and put it on my mug. So yeah, it was just kind of open studio to do whatever you wanted and just have fun. So luckily I brought a damp box with me, and I brought back
Yeah.
stuff home. So that was good. And then the last day, 8 a.m., 8:30 a.m., we unloaded the kiln, something like that. So yeah, it was a good time. So there was Kevin was there, Isaac, and then there were
Yeah.
6 others, I think. Myself, Megan, Tony, uh, Nathan, Potter Pauls, and Andrea Garcia, Jennifer Christensen, and
Okay.
Brian Wilkerson, and then Isaac, of course. So
Nice. Was Karina super pregnant?
so yeah, yeah, she was, and
Oh.
Javi was around. So yeah, that was my first time being to Harper. It's
very
like
small.
so small town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
But there were some terrible storms. Like the first night we got there, really bad. So the kiln was under a tent. Luckily, we had to take some of the chimney down the day after we got it built before we fired it the next morning because it was like threats of, I think it was like 70-mile-an-hour winds the first
Yeah.
night before we built it. So we woke up and it was like raining all day while we were trying to build it. Luckily, we had a big tent we were under, but yeah, it was quite the storm that night, and then the night before we fired it, it was like really bad. So we kind of got delayed on starting.
You don't really know
the firing.
winds until you've been to the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
I lived in a place that had winds like that, and it's just fucking wild. Like, I've seen a cat fly. Like, yeah.
A cat? Oh
The
my
winds
gosh.
picked up, like, we had a canoe when we lived in Washington, and we had it, like, next to a fifth wheel growing up, and it flew over into our neighbor's deck, and our fifth wheel moved, like, 2 feet. Yeah. Wild.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I got to meet Mittens too. Mittens, and I want to say
Yeah.
their dog's name is
I'm
Layla.
smitten with Mittens. I fucking love her.
Meg was gonna
She's
steal Mittens,
so cute.
but Isaac wasn't having
Oh my
any
god,
part
she's
of
so
that,
freaking
but...
cute, and she's so spicy. I love it.
So yeah, it was a great time, and we'll probably have. So you're gonna hear, I think, on the next episode once this releases, is our chat on the way home. We had a couple hours with Meg and Tony in the car, so the three of us chatted. They're both high school teachers, so we talked about some of that stuff and our expectations going in, and then our results and
Nice.
takeaways from the
That's
workshop.
great.
So pretty good time.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. So what's new? What's new over in your
I am
land over there?
in Manistee. Yes, Manistee, Michigan, and I think
Manistee, Michigan.
and yeah, Manistee. It's
Google
on.
that.
It's like really on the north part of Lake Michigan, and I went to this. It's a natural spring, this morning. That's like 50 feet deep or 45 feet deep, and it's all clear. I'll send you videos.
Wow.
It's so freaking cool. But it was like so
There's a
busy. There is a
lighthouse there?
lighthouse. I can see the lighthouse from my van right now.
Really? You must
Yeah,
be
maybe
on
I'll
one of the
go
beaches
walk
there.
out there. And I found out today that I don't like Reubens. So
Reuben's? I don't think I've ever had one.
I love corned beef. And so I was like, of course I'm going to like a Reuben. I don't. And I didn't even have a sandwich, and I do know this now. So I was like, I'm going to try these Reuben fries for lunch. They were like Reuben covered fries. So they had corned beef, cheese, and then Thousand Island and sauerkraut. And I don't like sauerkraut, so I was like, no sauerkraut, please. Which I think most people would argue is half of the Reuben.
Right.
Which I understand. But then it came with so much Thousand Island dressing, and I also found out that I don't really like Thousand Island dressing today. And I think that that's actually the part that I don't like, is the Thousand Island.
Isn't the
Rye
bread
bread.
like
Yeah, it's a rye.
it's a rye or
So,
something? Yeah, that sounds like a terrible sandwich to
but it
me.
was so, I was
Not interested in
so
rye, not
sad
interested in corned
because
beef.
like this place, I went to it right next to this stupid spring place. It wasn't stupid, but you can tell that they get like all the people from this park, and their prices were fucking insane. Like I paid like $20 for these fries, and I didn't like. They were okay. Like I ate all the meat. I ate all the meat off of them, but they just
Mm-hmm.
like covered it with the Thousand Island sauce. I don't think I would have even liked it if it was ranch. Like, it was just like sopping wet, and
Ugh.
so
Is Thousand
I don't
Island
know.
common on it?
I think so. So I don't know.
Oh. Yeah, that doesn't sound good. I can't remember what Thousand Island even tastes like. Isn't that? I think that's common in something else.
I don't know, and I'm like
But
not a picky person. Like I have things that I'm
yeah,
not huge on, but I'll always eat them. This one was really hard for me to get down, and I was like trying not to let the waitress know that I really didn't like it. I was like, it's okay, and she was like, oh, and I was like, I was just trying something new, and she's like, oh, I'm so sorry it didn't work out,
yeah.
but yeah, so.
What do you think about Cuban sandwiches? Have you ever
I
had a
don't
Cuban?
think I have.
Looks like it's classic Cuban roast pork layered with ham, Swiss cheese, pickles, and yellow mustard before it's grilled.
I
It's
would
grilled
like
kind of like a
everything
panini. It
except for the
looks like.
mustard.
Yeah, I don't. I think I've had one of those, but I think it tasted kind of bland because I didn't get the mustard on it. But I don't know what I would put instead. Maybe mayo. That'd probably be a disgrace to it because it's mayo. I don't really want
Yeah, you don't
pickles
like
either. I
pickles.
don't know.
I love pickles.
Cubans and
Cubans and
Reubens
Reubens.
just
The
don't sound
Cuban
good.
sounds great except for the mustard. And I know that, like, I feel like mustard is such a staple in this culture that is upper middle United States, like Germantown. And I
Yeah.
just
Ugh,
am
I'm
not a
just not
mustard
about
fan,
it.
and I can't. I try. I'm trying. Like
It.
Andrew
Yeah.
Linderman made like a mustard cheese sauce to go with brats, and it was actually okay. Like I was like, I don't like mustard, and I'm gonna eat this because it's not bad. But like,
But would you pick it up again? You said it's not like okay, or you said it was okay. I thought you were gonna say
it
it
was
was
good.
actually
It was
good.
good. Yeah. I would eat it
Okay.
again. It wasn't my like favorite, but it was definitely like palatable with mustard. I could tell it was there. But
Yeah. I think a brat is one of those things you don't put really. You
I
don't
do.
put ketchup
I
on a
fucking love
brat,
ketchup on a brat.
do you? Oh, I feel like that's one of those things where people will either put mustard or onions or
I do
nothing.
like a
Like
dry brat, but my favorite brat is cream cheese and sriracha. Yum.
cream cheese and sriracha. Is cream cheese like liquidy though? You just like chop it
You
up
just
and put it
spread
on
it
there?
on the bun.
Okay. I'm thinking like a
No,
block of it
Ryan.
that's
No.
it's pretty like
No.
hard. Like Philadelphia. That's
It
not that
can be.
spreadable.
They used to have these like cream cheese packages that were like squeezy packets. Ugh, those were the fucking jam. Uh,
Oh, like squeezing
but
on
it's cream
mayo,
cheese.
but it's
Those were the
cream
best.
cheese.
Anyway, oh, like Chicago dog. I couldn't do a Chicago dog because it's like covered in mustard.
Ugh.
And I'm like, I like everything else.
It's got a fucking tomato on there and pickles
I don't know.
and
It
stuff,
seems like a
right?
Chicago dog is just a hamburger on a
thanks.
hot dog. So,
Chicago style hot dog. Let's see. What else? Mustard, relish, onion, tomato, pickle,
see?
peppers, and celery
It's a
salt. Oh
fucking
my
hamburger on a hot
gosh.
dog.
It is.
The only thing they don't have is the
It's
lettuce.
a pile of stuff. Yeah, I was reluctant when I was at one of the Chicago baseball games to go to the stand and just be like, "Can I just get like a plain hot dog?" from the like Chicago style dog place, and then I'll put ketchup on it.
There is nothing wrong with just meat and bread, you know? Like, I just like meat and bread.
As long as it's like
Yeah.
seasoned and stuff a little bit, I can get down with just a.
I mean, like, I like stuff on things. I love stuff on things. But I love a good meat and bread. You know?
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm in Manistee. I was in Marquette and found a nice little spot to park there. I found a really great little spot to park on my way down from Marquette to here, and stayed there for like 4 days, I think. And it was like right off the road. It was totally secluded. Nobody knew I was there. And it was fantastic.
Did you have to like pull off a dirt road or something to get to it? Yeah. Did you even see anybody?
No.
The time you were there?
I heard cars go by because it was right next to a main road, but I didn't see anybody the whole time. So that was really quite lovely. And yeah, it's been super awesome. I painted some cups while I was up there. I did some jewelry. I started making some rings. We're going to see if they work. I have no idea if ceramic rings will even be okay, but we're going to see.
Are you using your like dowel things?
No, they're just like hand formed.
Kind of get this.
But
oh, okay.
Yeah, so we'll see. I don't know, but I'm at this like parking spot right now. It's like a public parking spot by the beach, and there is a pavilion right here in this parking spot with like public restrooms and stuff, and they have outlets on every single pillar. And I was like, maybe I could come here tomorrow and fire my kiln for 4 hours. And
I don't know if I would risk it.
But I mean, like, what could go wrong? Like, somebody maybe comes.
What if you start first thing in the morning, maybe? So, like, you get some time before
like,
somebody
what
notices.
what if I start it at, like, I wake up at, like, 6 o'clock, come down here, plug it in, and just fucking camp out, go swimming, and then...
Are you worried that somebody's going to disturb it?
I don't think so. I don't know if I'll do it or not, but...
It just seems risky. Like, I would plug up a phone, but not, like, a kiln. Because people are going to be like, what the fuck is this?
But, yeah,
unless
like,
you're right by
what
it.
I could do is plug it in, and then, like, for 4 hours. Like, get here at 6 o'clock, plug it in for 4 hours, and just, like, sleep on a table next to it, and then, like a homeless person, and then... I could, at 10 o'clock, while it's cooling down, obviously unplug it and just do clay stuff while I'm...
Can you move it? You can't move it safely, right? Once it's done? I mean, you'd probably have to let it cool for a couple hours after.
Definitely ill-advised to move. Yeah.
Yeah. Because, I mean, if somebody came up and was like, hey, you can't be doing that, all you could do is really unplug it. And just let it sit there. Because you can't move it.
Right. So, like, yeah.
They'd be like, get out of here. You'll be like, this is fucking hot.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, at a certain point, there is no backing down. There is no, like,
That's why I think you need to get up even earlier. So that it's, like, before the light's out. Unless the park is, like, you can't be in the park before
there's no signs that say times. So...
I don't know. I definitely want to hear this story if you can. I feel like that'd be good content if you could document that.
Oh man, it would be good.
Be like, can I fire a kiln in a public park without
Yeah, because I was
issues?
like, maybe I could fire it tonight. And, like, the reality of somebody coming down here when it's dark outside is minimal. So what if I, like, fired it tonight, tucked it around one of the beams, and just like put the cord,
Mm-hmm.
you know, around it.
Yeah. I mean, the difference would be, I guess, if it's firing it, would it be bright at all? Is there a peep on it? Like, that would be the only
There's
light
no
that somebody
peep.
might see. Oh, okay. So they wouldn't even be able
No,
to
and
see
I
any
could face
color
it
from
against
it
the
or
wall
anything.
so they wouldn't even see the. I could fucking tape over
The time.
the screen.
The
Yeah.
screen. You could. I mean, there wouldn't be a reason that it wouldn't pull power after a certain time, right?
I don't know. I don't know if they like shut down the power of the pavilion at a certain time or not. That's a risky fucking ballsy ass move to have power. That much fucking power. Like,
I don't know. I mean, I would. Because could you? I mean, I wouldn't think you would potentially like trip
no,
something,
no,
like trip a breaker or something,
no.
and then be like, you don't want people going close to it to burn themselves or
Right.
whatever. So maybe scout it out for a day and then decide to see if like people are
That's a good
around
idea.
very much, or do it. I mean, it's a weekday. Maybe do it
I
on a
also was
weeknight.
thinking about maybe there's a campground right here, and I don't know how much it is to have power, but I could just fire twice if I got overnight and like got in the
Mm-hmm.
campground for a day or 2 days. It'd probably be like $22 or something like that. I don't know. That'd probably be worth it. I mean, there's a fair amount of stuff to fire, but I also could just wait until I
Yeah.
get to Julianne's house in a week. So
In a week, yeah. As long as you can transport that stuff safely.
it's transporting. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's absolutely no way you could fire it on your battery power.
No, I plugged it in and it would take. I would need 800 amps of 800 watt hours of solar on the top, 800 watts on the top of my van, and at least like 1800 in my battery bank on a sunny day to fire it. So eventually, yes, I will be able to fire it, but not right now.
Okay. And it's got to be like consistent sun. You can't use it from one bank and then roll it over from the other bank.
No. I mean, I could, but no. Like, I just don't have the right amount of banks. I think it pulled like
Yeah.
almost 800
And
watts
it's not something you can.
an hour. So,
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be too
Yeah.
risky.
I don't want to try that. I don't want to do that.
Have the banks been
What?
working pretty good otherwise? Has the solar been working pretty good otherwise for what you need?
It's been great actually. So I when I was at Andrew Krieger's house, he does crystalline glazes. He's in Sheboygan. That's just a fun name to say, Sheboygan. I charged up my battery fully, and every day I've been able to recharge it fully. So that's been really nice because it's been pretty sunny. So, and then my other battery, I have like a smaller battery that's about 760 watts, I think. And that one I can plug into the car charger, so when I'm driving, it can power it and recharge it. So I can't plug my big one into the car while I'm driving, which is fine because it's got 200 watts of solar going in. But I'd like to put 400 watts at least on the top, get another 200 watt panel. So I think I'm going to try and do that before I come to your house when in October.
In October.
That's the plan, at least.
So if you didn't recharge it from Andrews, could you? It doesn't store. It doesn't get enough storage in it to actually get full on its own for a day.
It doesn't. It can't like. Basically, right now, the amount that I use in a day is the amount that I can charge in a day. It just like happened to work out that way, you know. So like, if I have more on the roof, then I'll be able to use a lot more. So like, if it's at 1 bar right now, I can get it to 3 bars in a day, but then I'll use those like 2 bars again at night because my fucking
Yeah.
refrigerator uses so much fucking energy because it's awful and it's broken. And I'm getting a new refrigerator when I get to Heidi's house.
It's broken?
It's not, it's like defective.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Do you
like
have a
they're
warranty
sending
on
me
it?
a brand new one. So this is crazy. So I got a fridge from
That's good.
Bougie RV. I don't know how you pronounce it, but it's
Bouge.
BOUGERV. And it's like they're
Is your phone by the
what?
mic, by the way? Is your phone by the mic, by the way? I can hear a little staticky.
That better?
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I got it, and I got it on Black Friday, so I paid a lot less money than I would have normally paid. And it's the biggest one that they have, which in hindsight, meh. But it is nice to have a pretty large capacity. And so what I noticed is that sometimes it'll just swap. So the freezer section turns into the refrigerator, and the refrigerator turns into the freezer. So I have to watch it pretty carefully. Like once a day, I will turn it off for like 30 minutes just so it can kind of like reset itself. But yes.
How do you know when it switches? Do you just have to open it and see the numbers and it'll tell you? Or does it sound different?
The temperature is outside here right now, and so this is a very good example. So right now, the temperature in the freezer section is 15 degrees, and the temperature in the refrigerator section is 22. Today's been an especially rough day for the refrigerator. And so the freezer section is supposed to be 4 degrees, and the refrigerator section is supposed to be 36 degrees.
Wow. Yeah, so they're like both kind of meeting in the middle there.
Right, so they kind of like meet in the middle, and
sounds like there's some leakage. Is there leaking from one channel to the other channel?
It's like a service board error or something like that. So I emailed them, and they were like, yeah, we'll send you out another one. They send me one, and it's got a fucking error. Like before, I like plugged it in when I got it out of the box, and it had an error code on it. And so I was like, fuck. And
you have to ship that one back,
and
how do you get rid of it?
Thankfully, it was at the studio, so I put out an email, and I was like, first come, first serve. Somebody take this. The freezer section, it said it was negative 41 degrees. We could have used it for Dippin' Dots. So the freezer section was like always frozen, but you could use the refrigerator section. And I was like, I don't want to deal with this. So somebody took it. And then so then I emailed them, and I was like, it's broken again. And they're like, we'll send you another one. And I was like, could you just give me money back, and I promise to buy the newer fridge that you have coming out that is probably better? And they're like, no, let's just send you another one. And I was like, ugh. So what the compromise we came to was that they're sending me another one from the new batch they're getting in. So it's like a new batch number. So
oh, okay. So it's newly built and actually new, not refurbished or something.
Right. So they're sending it to Heidi's shop, and so I'll get it then. But I just have to watch it like a hawk. I was like, bro, I can't babysit this refrigerator. Like,
yeah, it's supposed to just work. I mean, that's
the amount of groceries that I have lost because of this refrigerator is unmatched. Like, the amount of cucumbers I have frozen. fucking cucumbers. So I'm glad you asked that, because I checked it and definitely.
Are you still doing okay with the heat and all that? Is that fan thing working, or how's that situation
Yeah, it's going good. So the fan's running right now because it was kind of hot today. But I got 2 tiny fans from Aldi, and when it's hot at night, I just like point them at me and they're just rechargeable and they last all night. So I just point them at me and they're like good enough. But up here, it's like, I don't know, it was only 80 degrees today and it's like 70 right now. And by the time it becomes 6 a.m., it's going to be 59 degrees. Like, we're fine.
Okay, so it just ebbs and
Yeah,
flows throughout the
and
day,
like,
and it's
I left
good
Lloyd in
enough.
the van a while today, but it never got too hot, you know? Um, but like, you know, when we were out at, like, when I was at my last camping spot, he just roamed around and would come in when it gets dark, or I'd find him when it gets dark. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's been
Nice. Yeah, the getting through the night in the heat is sounded the worst. And just trying to work during the day when it's
hot.
just like fucking 90
You get kind
degrees
of
out
used
or
to it,
something.
and like I've kind of just gotten to the point where I just stick a fan on me, and like when I'm working, I just have to like cover things up so that they don't get the you know, dry up too fast.
There,
But
yeah.
you get kind of used to like the heat. And I have my bug screen that I got from Amazon that's like freaking amazing. And
I saw that. That
yeah,
looks
it's
like it's
working
working pretty
super
well.
great. And then I have a bug screen in the back too, so I can open up the doors so I can get like a cross breeze. And I haven't done a ton of, I haven't like broke out the wheel a bunch, but I have been doing a fair amount of like hand building. And I mean, like, I am getting work done, so that's good. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's consistent as long as you're working and, a few days a week, you're
Right,
probably
it's
on
not like
track to.
I'm not making money right now. Like, a few, like, sales here and there, but, like, it's not, like,
You're like
yeah,
maintaining.
I just, like, I think Aletha asked me yesterday, she was like, oh, so, like, are you having a lot of orders coming in? I was like, no, 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 no. Like, I made money before I went on this trip because I knew I wasn't going to make any money on it until I get to my next show. So,
Yeah, so you're just getting little trickles here and
yeah.
there of orders.
I feel like this is a really good moment for me to kind of like get bored on purpose so that I am like, God, Becky, you really need to start working. Like,
I mean, you've been working on the wet clay stuff. Are you talking about working on the selling
just
part?
any part, you know, just like to take a little
Oh,
break. You know, like when you take a break and you're like, God, I really need to get back to work, you know?
yeah. I mean, I definitely feel behind getting
Yeah.
home from the workshop. Besides, like, replying to emails, it's just my list of to do is getting longer.
What do you have in the next couple of weeks, months?
So, I'm chatting a little bit with that
Mm-hmm.
mug club person. I don't know if I mentioned on here, but there's somebody that's interested in a mug club, like, right after we released that episode talking about it. Um, so he's wanting 250
Wow.
mugs, and I'm going the decal route. He wants to see samples, so he's been kind of like checking on updates, and I'm like, I just let him know today. Like, I just got back from a trip. I was gone for a few days, and like, I'll get you a decal sample that is not your decal, but it is a decal. It's gonna be the Wheel Talk decal to show him like what a logo looks like on a mug that I have that's of the
Yeah.
size that he kind of wants. So I'll do that, and then he's asking for glaze colors, and so I'm gonna have to do some glaze tests on speckled clay because that's what the samples are currently in, and then see if I can get a decal on there and it actually comes out like looking good. Because to this point, I've only done decals on white speckled mugs and just white
Yeah.
glaze on white mugs. So, like, that's the best way to get good, clean results. But, a brewery's not going to want a white mug.
Yeah.
So, they're wanting some greens or coppers or teal. So, like, I just gotta experiment, see what they look like, and get him the samples. But like, if he doesn't like them, I'm willing to like walk away from it if I have to.
It sounds like he
Because
might be a little picky.
yeah, I don't know. So we'll see. I mean, it's all the expected things. It's like,
Yeah.
they're gonna be numbered. One of them's going to this one location. It's gonna be 1 to 100, and then this other location's gonna have 1 to 25, 1 to 250,
I'm a huge
or one to one
I'm a
fifty
huge,
or
huge,
something like
huge,
that.
huge fan of, like, honestly, if I'm not gonna number Mug Club mugs again. I'm not doing it. And yeah, no.
Really?
I will buy the fucking stamps and I will buy the pad and I'll give it to the fucking brewer. But I'm not gonna number them. Because, like, the amount of headaches that come with numbering is unmatched. Like, you can't make...
I think you were talking about stamping them after they're already fired, is what you
Yeah.
were suggesting before.
Yeah, because if you
like,
stamp them
ideally.
before, and let's say number 45 gets messed up, like, you can't make extras. And just, like...
Unless you decal it, I guess, because you're already going to decal the front, so, like,
Yeah,
maybe
decaling the bottom
but
is fine, I guess.
even then,
but, like,
I mean,
yeah, like...
You can't decal the bottom on
Yeah, you
raw
can.
clay, though. I don't think you
Yeah,
can
you can.
decal
That's
raw
how Liz
clay,
does
can you?
her, You could just do an iron decal, yeah.
What? Oh, it's but iron. It's not. It's different. Okay. It's not like water slide decal on raw
Yeah,
clay.
you can.
You can't do that, right?
Yes!
What?
No.
I thought you had to do it on glazed. Maybe I can ask Isaac if he's ever done it that way with his decals.
I don't...
I understand the sepia tone ones can
Yeah.
probably be raw clay,
Yeah.
right?
I don't know. But, see, this is what I'm talking about. Like, you mess up one that's, like, 45, and then you have to do 45. And then what if that one fucking messes up again? You can't make any extras. Because while you're making extras, you have to, like, stamp in the number. It's fucking dumb. Like...
What if you just stamp it at... Okay, what if a compromise would be... You make them all, and then when you get to the decal firing, you stamp it with an underglaze stamp on the bottom, so that it gets up to bisque temperature, and it's bisqued on when it's being
I would rather
decal fired.
I'd rather
Is that a good
decal it
compromise?
and put it on the bottom of the handle. Yeah.
With a decal?
Like...
Why the bottom of the... You're just saying
Yeah,
decal number, wherever
like,
you decide
if you
to put
can't
it,
do
but
it on raw
decal
clay,
it.
whatever. But I'd rather decal it and do it with the decal firing.
My worry would be that you order all the decals and you don't order with plans to have 45 twice. I don't know how you... Because I don't know. Do you
See,
cut out each
this
number
is what
and
I'm
you put the
talking
numbers
about.
together
There's
in different
too
decals?
much fucking issues with stamping. Just buy the stamp pad, get the fucking stampy numbers, and give it to the goddamn brewer. They can do it themselves. Like, the amount of times that they're going to wash those cups is, what, like, in a year, it's, I don't know, 30, unless it's somebody that literally comes in every single day. Like, it's a mug club. Some of those people buy mugs and then they never come.
The rubber stamps that I have are like really small too, so I wonder if I would stamp it with that, if he would be like, oh, that's too small. It's like the size of my stamp. My stamp is like half an inch. Like, is that too small for a number? I mean, I would like to put it on the bottom and just...
Yeah, it's too small.
Super. So then I got to get more stamps that are bigger.
That's like $10.
But, okay, so that's one thing on my list. Another one, I got to make a couple samples for Amruta, for some candles. I got a wholesaler that wants 6 more mugs. That'll be easy. Yeah, I got
Do you have any more
things.
shows?
I'm doing a workshop here soon. Yeah, I got shows, of course. That's a given.
What do you got?
That's a given. All right, so I got... Whoo! What month is it? August? Shit. Farmers market, Lexington show. The Lexington show is with Deanna. She'll be
Oh
there.
yeah.
We're staying together. Um, got West Side Market. Actually, I didn't tell you. Rachel and Erica did West Side
Oh
Market for me while I
yeah.
was gone.
They.
They did well. They said they sold
Hell yeah.
$950 worth. It was good. I'm
They
like,
can do my
ooh,
shows from now
what?
on too.
And I'm like, do they want to do some other shows for me?
Branching out.
Yeah, Rachel's not gonna do that, but maybe I can sway Erica if she wants to. But Penrod and Indy, that'll be a new one for me. So we'll see how that goes. Madison, Chautauqua, Coffee Festival. Yeah, I got
Yeah.
a lot. And then since getting back from that workshop, I'm like, I want to build a soda kiln in the backyard now. So, I think that maybe
Yeah.
that'll be a winter project. Yeah, that'll be a. Plus, it's more comfortable. It was hot as shit out there when it wasn't raining, and I'm like, this would be much more manageable when it's like around freezing or 40 degrees out. That would probably be pretty comfortable.
I saw a thingy that said that a news article that said that this winter, the almanac says that this winter's gonna be fucking rough. Like, yeah. I'm
Oh,
like,
really?
that's great. I won't be here. What was I gonna say? Oh, also, this is just straight out of the blue. This will apply to 0 people listening, because it's a time thing, but the 13th and 14th, I think, of August, you'll have to make sure on the dates, but they're like the prime dates for the meteor shower, so it's gonna...
Nobody's gonna hear that.
No,
Are you
I'm
talking about
talking
next
to you
year?
right now. I'm telling you about the meteor shower. So
Oh, okay.
you need to look it up because you don't want to miss it. It's going to be like 13th and I think Monday is the meteor shower day. So look at it. But also they will hear this. August 30th is going to be the second supermoon that we've had this month. We got 2 full moons in August.
So 2 full moons is considered a supermoon, or is the moon any different because it's the second one?
It's a supermoon because I don't know why it's a supermoon. I'm not that scientific, but it's going to be big, apparently, like a big moon, and red, I think. And it won't happen for another 9 years. August 30th.
Okay.
Yeah.
August 30th.
So, those are my space things.
Our space
Yes.
segment on today's episode.
Yeah.
We did get one big project off the list, though.
Hooray!
We finished a tiki bar. We're having a party on
I
Saturday
know, I
for
was
that.
so bummed I had to miss that, but I'm here.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. We like made special recipes that we're gonna mix for people, and then we've got some that people can like. It's pre-mixed and it's non-alcoholic. They could add alcohol to it.
That's so
or
great.
Not.
That's gonna be so freaking
It'll be
awesome. After this,
Yeah.
we should FaceTime so you can show me the bar.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say?
What else is going on? What's ahead for you? Where are you going? You said something about Heidi's.
Oh, okay,
But what
yeah.
else are you
So I should also mention these because if you're in these areas, keep it in mind. So, let's see. Today is August 7th, 9th. Wow. Today is August 9th. And I will be in Upper Peninsula until the 20th. And then on the 19th. On the 19th and the 20th, I have a show in Traverse City. I think it's just called Traverse City. And then
You'll have to let me know how the city is, because somebody mentioned that would be good to see in the fall
yeah, I've
when
heard
the
it's
leaves and stuff are
fucking
changing.
beautiful. Also, remind me to talk to you about Andrews. Uh, okay. And so I have a show in Traverse City, and then I have a week, and then I have another show on Labor Day, over Labor Day weekend in Torch Lake. So I'm hoping that those both are okay. I have a friend who did a show in Petoskey by the same company and said it was awful because
Those are both in Michigan.
yeah,
I'm guessing Traverse City and
Torch Lake.
Lake,
They're
whatever.
like right next to each other.
Torch Lake.
And
Oh,
so
okay.
I have a friend who did a show near there with the same company and said it wasn't great because they were doing it literally at the same time as another large show, which is a super bummer. But if I can get a few dollars, that's good. You know, I have enough money budgeted that I can get to like the end of October for me, I think. So, no, not the end of October, the end of September. So, I'm like fine money wise, but a little more would be nice. And then after that, a little more is always nice. After that Labor Day show, I go to Heidi's, which is Bella Joy Pottery. She's in Kalamazoo, Michigan. And I'm doing a jewelry workshop at her place. I have no idea what date it is, but
She just advertised
I
it.
did advertise it. I don't, but it is, I think it's like probably
She's in Plainwell, Michigan, but basically Kalamazoo.
And so, what? Yeah, you look it up while I talk, and then, after that, on like the 20th, I'm going to Beale Pottery, which is Upper Indianapolis or Upper Indiana, and I'm doing 2 workshops there. But before that, I'm doing the Michiana Pottery Tour, which should be good. And
September 23rd,
September 23rd and 24th, I'm going to be at
Tour.
Jesse's stop. It's a new stop this year.
I'm going to drive up there with Erica.
You are?
Actually. Yeah, we're going to leave in the morning. I think Brian Wilkerson may join us. He may drive up from Tennessee. He was at the workshop. He might drive up and then join us as well. And I think Meg and Tony may come. Meg's definitely going to be there because I think she's going to be at
She's going to be at a
Trevor
stop.
Yeah. And then Tony was just going to come and hang out.
Well, that's exciting. So. And then, so that's.
By the way, your workshop is September 9th from 1 to 4.
September 9th from 1 to 4. At Heidi's. That's a
Heidi's.
jewelry workshop. We're going to make jewelry, whatever you want. And then I have a efficiency throwing workshop with the Beals on efficiency workshop on the 25th, and then a jewelry workshop on the 27th.
Okay, we're definitely going to link all these down in the description because you buy these on their personal websites. So
yeah,
I'll link them in there.
So yeah, wow, that's a lot. And I'm excited about all of them. I don't have any expectations for any of them. It's just going to be fun and it'll be something to do. But like during at least the time at Heidi's, I've got to fucking get my ass in gear and get some fancy cups popping. So I got to get those going.
Yeah.
Because
I've actually got a special workshop I'm doing with Zipporah.
What?
Actually, it's like a Zoom workshop. So she'll probably have announced it by now, but it's gonna be. Oh, I'm trying to remember. She said an hour and I think it's an hour and a half. It's gonna be a Zoom workshop. So oil bottles. I'm gonna be throwing oil bottles and showing how I make them, some pitfalls you may run into, some things you want to think about. She's going to host that. So that's Zipporah from C4
Nice.
Ceramics. You will have heard her episode talking about the classes and online things by the time this is out. So you can join that. You'll be able to get that on her website. So I will link that as
Yeah.
well.
So
But yeah.
so then I'll be at Beal Pottery until the first or the second, and then I I know, like, everything's so planned, which is so not like me.
Yeah, I know what.
It's rough because, like, it's planned, but then when they're like, "When are you gonna be here?" I'm like, I don't know. Like,
I'll be there in
day,
time.
maybe. And then I have to be down in Memphis by the 12th. I have to be down in Memphis by the 12th of October, because then we go to Disney World for a week.
Oh, that's right. Okay, I was like, why do you have to be there at a certain time?
Me, Teresa, Brandon, all 3 kids, and then Brandon too, Brandon's best friend, are all going to Disney World for a week, and Florida just in general. And so that'll be fun and exhausting and overstimulating. It's going to be great. And then I come back, and then I have to be in Cincinnati for the coffee festival. So, yeah, I'm like booked until, like, booked solid until the coffee festival.
Yeah, coffee festival's late October, so October 21st and 22nd. I don't know if I mentioned the oil bottle. That's going to be Wednesday, August 30th, nice. 8 p.m.
The same day as the moon.
8 p.m. Eastern.
I think so.
Oh, is it? Okay. I hope people don't skip the moon for me.
I think it'll be a lot later.
Or we'll take a little break and be like, hey, go look at the moon right now if you're on Eastern.
Yeah. It's wild. Like, I feel like I'm in my, like, baby version or baby, like, era of van lifing, but it also doesn't feel like I'm in a baby version of van lifing because of my life. But but yeah, it's just freaking crazy. Nobody's knocked on my windows yet to tell me to leave.
That's good. Have you had any, like, weird interactions where you're a little, like, something sketchy going on or anything like that?
Not really, except for today. We stopped at a baseball field so that Lloyd could stretch his legs. And we got to, like, these bushes, and there was, like, somebody in the bushes. Like, someone was in the fucking bushes. And they kept, like, making noises. Lloyd's tail went, like, fucking up. And he was, like, all puffy. And I was like, we gotta get out of here. So we walked to the other side. Yeah.
What?
So that was a little sketch, but other than that, not really. I've had a fun interaction with, like, a bartender at a brewery, and ended up selling her pots in the parking lot of the brewery and earrings, and that was fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
I had a fun interaction at the workshop. So Jennifer Christensen from Prairie Dragon KS, I think, is her Insta. So she just got a new L&L. New to her L&L. And she was worried. She was trying to buy it. This will not be advice because we need to check this with L&L, but she just got one off Marketplace. It was phase 3, converted to single phase. and is using it at her home now. So she's pretty excited about it. The element channels, I think she's fired it a couple times, and she's been
Nice.
enjoying it. So
Nice.
we got a new, and she was like, "Yeah, I've been listening, so I'm happy to say I got a new kiln, got a new one. It's been working well for me." So she was pretty excited about it, and I gave her some. I took some L&L stickers with me that I got from Ensika, and left some with her, and then left some with Isaac
who
and stuff
owns
like
3
that.
scuts,
So.
like, bro.
Yeah, he was like, "I'm a scut boy," and I'm like, "Do they pay you or anything, or are you gonna like throw my L&L stickers away or what?" And he's like, whatever." So I just like left them on his table.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know. I've got a funny little story about so one of the places in Indy I do some kiln tech stuff for just kind of fell into this. And I get a text from my friend with a picture of their L&L kiln with the back all unhinged, but the lid's not off. And she goes, I don't remember, I think her name's Heather.
The back
like all unhooked,
unhinged. Okay,
yeah,
so it's like
you know,
stuck
it's like
on
all
there.
drilled onto the the back panels, like drilled on.
Yeah.
So it was all undrilled, and the lid was still on. And she goes, Heather almost lost a hand because they didn't Google how to take the lid off with take the spring off, the assisted lid.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, did you Google it? And she's like, well, now we did. Like, okay, so first rule of kiln tech anything is you always Google. Even if you think you know.
Is don't talk about kiln tech.
Even if you think you know, you always Google and look on the website to see. Because L&L actually has one of the most amazing websites for fixing things. Like, I've had to look up certain things for electronics or anything like that, and it's almost always the number one option is the L&L website just being like, hey, this is what this means. This is what error 2 means. This is what this means. This is how you fix this. This. They have like a whole page dedicated to fixing things. And I'm like, always just go to the website first. That's the advice from me.
We actually did have to look up while we were at the workshop how those spring-loaded things load into a... It wasn't an L&L, but those spring things they can be taken out safely, and you're not worried about because I think when I moved my old L&L in here, it was still attached to the top ring, and it's one of those where it's like, or maybe it was attached to that back spine, and it was it's expanded out, so it was a little dangerous.
It's scary as shit taking those things off.
And pretty awkward.
And you do have to look it up because, I mean, unless you've done it a billion times, but it is a technical thing to do, and it can actually hurt you very much. So yeah.
I will be looking that up because I will need to do that when that new kiln gets put downstairs.
Okay, Ryan. The kiln has to be in by the time I get to your house. That gives you almost 2 months.
Okay.
You have to have the brand new kiln in your house by the time I get there.
Okay. I was holding out hope that Jessica was gonna buy the kiln, but it sounds like she is not. So that's okay. I can post it, and I can post it to the small group, the Clay Alliance group, and somebody will buy it, and I will not feel bad about it. So, yeah. And now that I'm thinking about the whole soda kiln thing, I'm like, maybe I can save those thick shelves that you said were shit. Maybe I can save those for the soda kiln.
Can you just make the Olympic the soda kiln?
No, it's functioning. I want to get a piece of shit one that's free.
Yeah, but
if anything, I can use the funds from the Olympic to fund buying all the shit that I need, like the fire brick and the other brick for the soda kiln. Not that I need it, but I don't want to take a perfectly functioning kiln that somebody could use for their first kiln and it be working.
You mean a functioning kiln that the top is a whole cone different than the bottom?
It's not like that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be good for somebody's
Sure.
first killing. And I've got brand new elements for it. What?
There is
I'll
that.
just be throwing those away. I
You're
will get it
ridiculous.
installed. Maybe you can
No.
help me install it.
No. I'm not helping. I'm not helping. I'm telling you that you have to do it by the time. I was willing to help the first time. The day we got it,
That's
I was
true.
willing to help.
That
And
is
then
very
you were
true.
like, no, I'm not putting it down there. And I was
That
like,
is
what
very
the fuck?
true.
And,
That is very
but
true.
I'm not willing to help again. Mm-mm.
I get it.
But it has to be installed by the time I get there for Coffee Fest. Has
Yep.
to be.
Yes, and if I have any issues, I'm gonna troubleshoot and look up guides on hotkilns.com.
Hotkilns.com.
Especially getting that lid off, I will
Yeah.
use it for that.
That's,
Good point,
yeah.
bringing that up. So
The best kiln is a kiln that you don't have to take apart.
unfortunately, my sliding doors are
I
not
know.
wide enough. So at some point, we're probably gonna
Can you
replace
take
these
a sliding
doors,
door like
but
completely out?
I was looking. I don't think these will come out. Not safely, anyways. I don't know.
How do they get them in?
I think the whole unit is one thing,
Oh.
and they put the whole thing in, and then they seal it
That's
around
wild.
the exterior. Kind of like a set of windows. Like, I mean, some windows you can like flop down, but
Yeah.
like they put it in as one unit, so it's probably easier to get in there. But I don't
Crazy.
know. All right.
Have we said that neither of us got into to ClayCon West this year?
I don't know. Did we talk
might
about
have.
it last
Anyway,
time?
if you didn't hear,
I
neither
don't
of us
know,
got into
but-
ClayCon West. We're gonna see if we can volunteer. I will already be.
We are. I talked to Joe afterwards, and he said volunteering's fine. I got
sweet.
you and Becca down, taking care of registration. Just we'll figure out what we're gonna have you do. But
Yeah. And I'm gonna be.
But
Yeah,
we'll be
I'm gonna
there.
be in Utah already in January. So.
Ooh, you know what you should do? Kevin built a soda converted kiln at the Tilted Kiln. You should try to fire in that if you can.
I could.
While you're there. If they'll let you, or if they're gonna do one. Yeah. At the end of the workshop, I was like, Kevin, would you like? He said he was gonna talk to Joe and see if he could do like a workshop firing it with some students or something. So maybe they'll do that. But would you do it if I built one here? Would you fire in it?
Yeah, I'd fire
it
in
would
it.
be fun. Yeah, I can picture like a fancy cup, because Tony had a bunch of underglaze detail on his stuff, like not decals, but a lot of like underglaze application with like imagery and screens and stuff like that. And he was able to like shield it pretty well in shelves, so I could picture like a fancy cup shielded, and then the backside that's raw is just going to get so much soda vapor, and the inside's lined.
See, I was thinking that I could just like leave them
good.
raw and do the soda situation stuff, and then do the glaze on top of it afterwards.
Oh.
Yeah.
But you might not want to put the glaze on
Why
top
wouldn't
of it afterwards. Do you mean like the
Yeah.
clean lines, like the gradient stuff?
And like the dots and stuff.
Maybe. That might work. And then you can pick and choose where you want it, depending on like where the effects were. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's many options. Yeah, that'd be fun. I don't know that you could get any jewelry in there. That would be a little small and probably risky. I don't know that would work, but maybe that
You
could
could
work
put
at
them
some
on
point.
bead rods.
Yeah, I just don't know if they're gonna just be drenched in vapor and just drip everywhere, and if it's gonna come out like solid, or if they're, if you had something flat, it would probably do okay.
I wonder if you could like put them in a cup, so it was like shielded partly.
Like make a sagger sort of.
But like an open sagger, so like a cup.
Just so if they fall or if
Well,
there's
it's like
issues, it's like
half. It's like
shielded
half
somehow.
exposed, but half not. You know, and like put it at the top or something. I don't know.
Okay. You just kind of
Yeah.
sacrifice the cup a little bit to get
Yeah.
those. Yeah. I don't know.
Oh my God! Last night, or 2 nights ago. No, it was last night. It was last night. I put all of my studs on cards, and it was awful. It was awful. Do not
Why'd you decide to
recommend.
do that?
0 out of 10. Awful. I decided to do that because nobody like knows that I have studs. So like they can't really tell that. Yeah, it shows.
At shows, you mean, or?
So I bought some bowls off of Amazon, and I just put them on cards so that I can just put them on the bowl so people can kind of like rummage through. So. Yeah.
Okay. So you're hoping it, because they're in like cork or something now, right? So they have to like.
Well,
pick
yeah,
them
and they
out
kind
of
of
the...
like look at them. They don't get to feel them. They don't get to touch them or anything like that. So, yeah. It's a whole thing. Oh, it's raining.
Yeah. It kind of looked a little overcast out that window,
Yeah.
but I couldn't tell. Okay, what else do you have from 4 years? Like, does it seem
yeah,
like
we
4
haven't
years?
even talked about that. It doesn't feel like 4 years. It does feel like 4 years as far as our conversation, like our topics is concerned. Like every time we start, we're like, what should we talk about today? Like, you know, it's funny how at the very beginning we had all of these topics like arranged and we had them like prepped and stuff. And now, and how
Yeah.
I have worn off on you in that way, where it's just like,
Yeah. I mean, I think I've got so much going on that this is something I can't spend too much time
Right.
preparing for. I mean, it's kind of a good thing and a bad thing. In a way, you have, well, I've set an expectation for myself to consistently get an episode out every week. I don't know if you care about that as much, but I want to hit that like every Saturday
no,
an episode comes out.
I
Like, I don't
agree.
want to miss
I think
a
that's a
Saturday.
goal that we both had, and that's a very consistent goal. And then we also had the same goal of it not taking up too much of our lives, too. And I feel like
Right.
we've accomplished that in the last 4 years. Like, we've only had 2 weeks where we re-released a previous episode, maybe even one. It might have just been 1 week.
Re-released?
Yeah, where we
We've
like
done that?
released one that
What do
had
you
already
mean?
been released before. Yeah, we did that once.
What? Are you talking about the recap
I don't
episode
think it was
thing?
a recap.
Like 100 episode thing? I don't think we
Yeah, we did.
re-released
We
an
did
episode.
one. I don't remember,
What was it?
but we did. So,
I don't think so.
but yeah, like we've gotten really good at being like a couple weeks ahead and just gibbering and jabbering about things. And I think that it's come to this point where we're just kind of like, I think a lot of the hardcore listeners just kind of refer to us as the studio fam on Saturdays, you know, which I'm totally fine with. And yeah, I think that's great. What do you
Yeah. Are you talking about Motivation as a
I
Maker
think so.
Take Two? Is that what you're talking about?
No, not that one. Not that one. No,
I
but
wouldn't
we
call that a
did
re-release.
do one. I remember. Think we
I
did?
don't think so, but you'll have to
Um,
find it and tell me.
But yeah, I feel like do you feel like there's anything that we haven't done that you would have liked to have done?
I think there's just people I'd like to talk to that we haven't yet. I mean, there's people in the background that have been looming that we haven't either reached out to or like I still have Florian on my list and he said he'd be open to it, and I'm honestly nervous to ask him because I'm going to be on this, like, it's a big
You know, he's
thing,
just a person.
you know. Yeah. So I'm overthinking it. You know, I have a reminder on my phone actually from the from April from April 28th. It says contact Florian about podcast, and it's still on there as unchecked. So I've had reminder on there that I need to just get up and do it, and he's got that book coming out, so I feel like we should have him on before he gets even crazier with his
Yeah.
time with the book coming out. Um, so like that's a goal of mine, and like obviously I would like Joe of Old Forge, and we just it. But I also don't want it to become where all we do is interview people. But I mean, I think we have a unique uh, way of talking to folks that we know we have a good rapport with, and we can ask better questions or like more in-depth questions and follow-ups that maybe others can't because of our length of episodes, as well as just we have a general um, level of understanding and knowledge about what they do. So it's just people that we know, people we're cool with, and people that we feel like we could get more insight from than just a high level discussion about what they do, why they do,
Yeah.
how they sell, how they market themselves, and it hopefully brings value to the listeners
Right.
in a good way, and feels also like casual and informal, like a conversation. It doesn't feel so, following a list of
Right.
questions.
It kind
Sort
of
of
like
thing. So
makes them become human. You know, like it's like that Florian thing. Like when we talk to Florian, you're gonna be like, "Oh wow, he was just like a guy." You know,
right.
and
And I feel like the more we go, the more nervous I get about like
yeah,
what are we going to talk about. Some people I feel less nervous about it because I already have this like I've talked to them before or whatnot, and I kind of know what to expect. But some people, if I haven't, but I have a general idea about them, but we haven't talked that much, then I'm like, ooh, is the conversation gonna flow?
right.
Is it gonna be natural or is it gonna be awkward? But generally, those fall away once you get 20 minutes, 30
Yeah.
minutes in. Even in the talk in the car, like on the way back. I mean, Meg and Tony and I have been around each other for like 3 days at that point. We'd already driven there together. And I was, 30 minutes in, I was like, how's this going to get, 18 minutes in, I'm like, how's this going to get
Yeah.
long enough to. But it's just like you find little sparks and you ask follow up questions and then you dig in and you go further. And then we hit 2 hours, like, goes pretty
Yeah, I
quick.
definitely
So.
think that that's as far as value. Well, you add a shit ton of value to this podcast, but that's one of your. That's definitely one of your like benefit,
Skill sets or
benefits,
something?
skill sets is you're really good at like moving the conversation along in interviews that I don't necessarily have that skill as much as you do. Uh, when like I smell bullshit or if I'm like, eh, I just give up. I'm just like, meh, meh.
If you smell
Like when
bullshit, like
I
you
like
don't.
know that somebody's just like talking out of their ass or if they're just kind of like saying words, I'm like, okay, well we don't have to talk too. But you're a lot better at being like, so tell me about this, and then it kind of like redirects.
Hmm.
Not that we've had people on here that are
Right.
like talking out of their ass. We don't really. We've had wonderful people on as guests, but
Yeah.
in life, if I'm done with the conversation, I'm done with the conversation. You are a lot easier. Like you just
Right.
have a gift of just kind of like moving along the conversation.
Right. I mean, I noticed, especially in groups like this weekend, I was more the chill, quiet one. Didn't really like. I'm not gonna lead a conversation with a
Right.
group of 10 people or 8 people. I'm gonna be very reluctant to say much, but I can talk with
Yeah.
2 or 3 people and and offer some insights or like ask follow-up questions and kind of like interview, kind of like this, like 3 of us is
Right.
like a sweet spot for me. But if it's a group of too many people, 4 or 5 people more, there's going to be people that are, I don't want to say louder, but like more vocal than
Yeah.
I am. And I'm not just going to like throw opinions out there and just let, like, without room to like go back and forth and have a dialogue. I feel like you can't have that dialogue with a
Right.
group of like 6 people.
Agreed. I
So-
also, yeah, I mean, like, you interview me almost all the time. Like, this podcast would be absolutely nothing without the both of us. Like, we both bring very different things to the table. And, like, I've always described us as, like, you're Jar Jar Binks to, I'm the Jar Jar Binks to Ryan's Obi-Wan Kenobi. And...
And I still
right,
don't
because
know
he
that
hasn't
reference,
watched
but...
Star Wars because he's dumb.
But I feel like I could quote that reference because
I have
you've
said it many times. So I'm trying to think of I'm trying to think of a movie reference that would work for you. I'll think of one. But I'm basically the comedy relief to your like cool collected. Even though I do add value, obviously I add value. But if you did it alone,
right,
it would be very factual, very like straightforward. If I did it alone, it would be 5 billion different things in
and titling that episode
it would be
interesting.
interesting. And yeah, he stopped asking me for title opinions a long time ago. But together we kind of like rein it in and we do well. We're a very good team. I mean, we haven't gotten mad at each other.
Yeah, it's very balanced.
In 4 years.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, we'll get into a little tiff over the discussion sometimes. I mean, you're still ribbing me a little bit about this fucking kiln, and I get it.
It's
but
lovingly, it's more of
I know.
Yeah, but I mean, like in the behind the scenes, a lot of the times people are like, "Oh, we're great," and then they get divorced. Like we're not like that.
Yeah, you're like performing for the
right.
mic, and you don't know.
We're not like
what's
that.
Going
we
on
actually are great.
Or whatever.
like, we're very good at communicating, and if something is bothering either of us, usually I'm like, "What's going on? What can I do better?" Because usually it's me. But
and I mean, typically we keep it so low.
Yeah.
Low stress with the podcast, which is what we've been trying to do the longest time. I mean, if we had to stress about making sure that we have to make sure to cover all of these topics, and this is on our list and we've never covered it, we have to cover it. It's our responsibility. Some things I'm like, some chemistry questions or some like studio, like safety like there's enough podcasts out there that I don't feel bad about referring people
right.
to For Flux's Sake or, Rebecca or somebody else that talks about these topics that they're
right.
more skilled in, like. Or we'll have an interview with somebody that is more skilled in that, and we'll be like, okay, like, we're getting questions about this. Let's go find somebody that we might know that can talk to this.
What was I going to say? Oh, something that I feel very proud of us collectively is getting the brand deal with L&L. I think that...
yeah, the sponsorship was like...
Yeah, so
Whew.
We had been talking about getting a sponsorship for a long time, and as you can already imagine, I was like, meh, and Ryan was like, yeah, let's do it. and
I think they reached out to us, though.
And it was very easy.
Because of an episode we talked about finding a kiln, I think. And finding your first kiln or... comparing kilns and stuff.
Yeah.
Kilns.
I really liked that episode. And yeah, so they reached out to us, and I just am really proud of us for, like doing that and like.
Yeah, I mean, shit we'd never done before. We've never written up a contract for sponsorship and like given a bunch of details about what are our numbers so that we can sell ourselves as like what value we offer.
Yeah, and shout out to Rebecca from Maker's Playbook for really helping us out in a time that we needed her. For
Yeah, she has like a 4 or 5 pager, and we have
yeah,
like a 1 pager. So
and she kind of like she was like, no, you guys are worth it, you know, and
yeah,
it just felt really good to yeah, to just like, I don't know, we're like legit.
I don't know. It's like a
Yeah.
good progression. It's a good, it's like a step up, and then you kind of like, you might not know all of what you're doing, but you kind of figure it out and make it
Yeah.
better and improve over time. And it's just, you just kind of step up to the plate
Yeah.
because you have to.
And maybe one day we'll make enough from this to like actually give us money.
Yeah,
We
I mean,
do.
we get a little bit of money in our
We
own
do get a
pockets,
little bit of money, but it would be not, you know, I mean, like maybe one day it would be nice to like pay my car bill with the Wheel Talk podcast money.
Or like I foresee down the road, we could host a workshop like in person with us as ourselves talking about something, and maybe it's not just, I would love if we could, cuz I feel like in a sense, and maybe this is just my perspective, that I'm looked at for my knowledge and skill set in business sense from the podcast, and maybe just from what I share on Instagram from peers, versus my skill set in throwing and production and things like that. So I would love to show some of my production skill set while considering the business stuff too. So that, I don't know, I feel like kind of like you fall into this thing of you're known for one thing of what you make, and that's all you can make. And I would love to be able to like do a workshop where I'm winning for my knowledge as well
like,
as the like skill set that I have.
Yeah, because I mean,
making.
your skill set in production is wild. I do think, however, that people see that. They know how prolific you are, and they see it, because every time I say something about you to like some other potter, they're like, how does he throw so much? And like, you know, and so it's like always in conversation, but yeah, you're right. It's, you get known for certain things.
Yeah, which is fine. I mean, it's better to be known for something than, I guess, you know, in it. I don't know. Maybe that's not a good thing, but I guess it's better to be like in this space. It's probably better to be known that you can provide some value. And then also, like, I don't feel bad about making pots that are for the masses, that are, you know, quote unquote, like basic bitch pots or like production level pots, and then having some insight, you know, some interest in doing other things on the side. Like this soda stuff, like, I don't know if I'd be able to do that if I was doing this full, like, would I have time and space to do this if I was doing this full time? I mean, it's been an interest of mine for a long time, but it gives me, like, I can walk away from the studio for a few days and it's not a big deal. But also it might be a position for me to like have my work known in a wider range of like what I make. And it's also like interesting to me. So it's kind of like dipping my toes in different things, and it gives me more options, I think. Maybe it's more options that confuse me, but at least it's interesting.
Well, I
to
think
me
that,
still,
you know, we talked about like a while ago, we talked about you kind of like branching out in form and taking a little bit more risks in your like decorations, and maybe instead of that, maybe like, obviously that's not like what really fuels you, you know, maybe a different firing types are what fuels you. Like maybe that's the
and that's a variable that I can't really predict, or I'll try to predict and be
and
as
maybe
controlled
that's a future
if I go the
for
soda
you
route.
that is more appealing than you know, like maybe that can elevate your pots just even a little bit more.
Right. I even got a little thought when I was in the studio watching Nathan Paul's working, because he was taking a simple form, and he did some some horizontal
Mm-hmm.
texture around the piece. It looked like he took like a scoring tool and just put a bunch of lines on the outside. And I was like, and he started doing it, like putting a face on top of it. And I was like, what if I did that with my simple pots and use
Mm.
that as the background? Because normally my underglaze ones and my carved ones are always really flat, clean pots. I'm like, what if I put some texture on them as the background and then I carve them? Maybe I do the slip with it, maybe I don't. Probably no slip. And then I'm like, I've got more layers. I've got the carving, I've got the texture on the background, and then I've got the glaze. So like maybe that's another option I could play with. So I made a sample when I was there, but I'm like, maybe I can
This
play
is why
around
you
with
should go to
that.
workshops, because it's not about the workshop. It's about you being able to expand your mind and just play around with things. It's not about learning as much
Mm-hmm.
as it is about your like time. Yeah.
Getting out of the routine as well. Like I'm very routine focused. I mean, I was talking with some of the other people, and I'm like, it's very obvious. Like I was talking with Meg and Tony, and they're like, how do you do all this stuff, and how much time are you in the studio? And I'm just like so routine focused. Like make sure I have my tea every morning. I make sure I get my push-ups in before I go to bed. I have these shows on my schedule. I got to do it. I don't know. I'm just very like routine, discipline, like the consistency of the
Yeah.
podcast. It's just a thread
Yeah.
throughout all of it. And if I don't keep that consistency, I don't necessarily feel bad for it, but I can feel a little bit like, ooh, I should have done that. Like, what effort was needed to do that I
Yeah.
decided to just say no. So,
So, what do you think? What do you think? Well, like, what's a goal, or like not like a goal, but maybe a soft goal for the next couple years in the podcast for you? Does this last forever? Like, what?
I would love to be on the road a little bit and actually talk to people
Okay.
at their spaces. Or if we could like do like a road
Yeah.
show sort of thing would be kind of cool. Like go to different ceramic studios.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of cool. Um, and talk with. See, I don't know. I don't know where people are that are listening. That's the one thing that's a little tougher of. Um, Lloyd, just a big white blur. It's tough to know where people are because they can listen all over the country or the world or whatever. And I feel like if we did some workshop, whatever, at a studio, you're narrowing the scope of that audience that are located to that physical space. So, or would people travel to see us and
Right.
hear from us? I don't know. And then is that like exclusive and they can't really hear the audio from that? Because generally, anytime we've talked as a podcast unit, it's always
Right.
recorded and it's shared. So, is there room for like exclusive content? And if we did, what would we even talk about that's exclusive? Um,
I feel like exclusive content is so opposite of our brand.
yeah. I don't know. What are you thinking? What are your thoughts?
I kind of already mentioned it, but I'd like it to get to a point where, I mean, maybe I put a little bit more work into it to make it a little bit more full time, and make it a money, like something that can actually earn us money. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know what that looks like, but
I, I mean that could happen. Like, we're already sort of doing this a little
right,
bit at a time with who we talk to. Like, I can talk to somebody by myself. You can talk to somebody by yourself. We don't always have to be in a room together
right,
and talk to somebody. So in a sense, like when you're traveling, like you could talk to Julianne for whatever. You could talk to
right.
Heidi for whatever and make it focused and it'd be like an hour. I mean, do you think it would be out of the question if we had something like that where we recorded and maybe we release more than once a week, or every 3 weeks where we released 4 times in 3 weeks
Yeah,
or
like
something like
something
that? So it's
where and I mean, not necessarily like who we're talking to, but like maybe some more like brand deals and some more like figure out how to make it like maybe we come up with some sort of passive workshop that we're making money off of. Kind of like Paul Blaze
Mm-hmm.
has like a business community going on with his, and something like that. It would be fun to kind of see how that goes, especially since I'm more I'm traveling a little bit more and kind of know my trajectory
Mm-hmm.
a little bit more now. Um,
What if it was something like a workshop that you and I did where it was just open forum, like every other month or something? It was like a standing
like an
thing and
online
people could pay
workshop.
for it to join.
Ah,
Yeah, like an online workshop. We're gonna be there and they can ask us questions. I don't know if we have a
yeah,
topic decided on, but that would be something that it's kind of ad libbed. It's not on a specific topic, or maybe it is on a specific topic, but if it's a specific topic, it could be something we just talk about and they could just listen. But I feel like we need to have something that we engage with them and a reason that they need to be
right.
there at that time
Yeah, I don't know.
and location.
I don't know, but I think that
Like,
that's kind of what I'd like to see in the future. I also like I haven't really thought about this. I don't know if you've thought about this, but like how long are we going to be doing this podcast? Like, I mean, like I'm in it to win it, and I know you are as well, but it's like, when does it end? I don't know. Maybe in 10 years, maybe in
I don't know. I
30
don't want to think
years.
about when it
Yeah, I
ends,
don't
but
either, but it's just wild to me. And also, like, I think about, God, I think about the things that we've done with this platform that I'm, like, really proud of, and one of them being Pot Swap, but also one that I
yeah,
regret being Pot Swap.
being pot swap.
And, like, um, just, like, I don't know, I'm just really proud of us and our mark on community, the community that we've
Yeah,
built. Um, but yeah, I want to obviously build the community more, and I feel like at some point there's gonna have to be some sort of a switch where one of us will have to work a little bit harder, you know, to grow it a little bit more, and I feel like it'll probably be me because you got a lot going on and I have nothing. Um, but which is fine.
yeah.
I'm like ready. I'm not ready right now, but I'm
And we
ready.
can, yeah, and we can figure out. And obviously, it's like you put the work in so that the money that is going to be coming that way of like
Yeah.
who we sponsor with, or if those, I mean, there's ways to do that where we reach out to a company and they sponsor the
Yeah.
workshop that we do. Maybe they help sponsor it, but people pay for. I was talking with somebody else about this, like maybe a typical seat. If you needed everything that you needed to make that workshop worth your while, people would pay you $60 an hour, $60 for an hour and 30-minute workshop. But if a company sponsored it, you can offer the
Right.
workshop for $30 because half of the cost is in your
Right.
pocket from the sponsor, and you just have to talk about their product and say this workshop is sponsored by
Right.
XYZ, and then it allows you to get more money in your pocket, and maybe it allows you to get more people in that wouldn't be able to afford it
Yeah.
otherwise.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think
Maybe
making it
that's an
accessible to
option.
people is really important. Obviously, we want to be as inclusive as possible. Um, I think it would be fun. This is just like throwing something out, but it'd be fun to do some sort of a scholarship type thing eventually. Like, we're
Ooh,
both
yeah.
very giving people, and I think that it would be really great to do something where somebody gets some awesome stuff or money just for existing,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe who can't afford it or is in a tough place. So,
Right. I
yeah,
like that idea.
I think there's a lot of possibility. I mean, there's a lot of possibilities. I think it's
Right.
funny and great that it's our 4 years anniversary, and I feel like both of us took a very long time to start selling our pieces, our work, like, consistently. And I feel like the podcast is exactly like that, where it's like, 4 years, maybe we'll actually do something. Like,
Right. It's kind of like, right now it's kind of
yeah,
maintaining with the sponsorship. It's maintaining, and then it's getting a little bit of money, but it's not, it's, I mean, yeah, if we were making more on it longer term, like, it would also give me that's another
right,
piece of my income that I could feel more confident
yeah,
about when, going
exactly.
full time.
Yeah, and I think the slow growth that we've done is perfect. It's perfect for us, you know? And, yeah. I'm overall 10
Yeah,
out of
slow
10
and steady.
happy. Overall.
Yeah. I mean, it's something we completely done, like, ourselves. Obviously, with the help of people asking
Yeah.
questions, people willing to be interviewed by us, spending time to, like, set aside time for us to come visit and
Yeah.
talk with you if, we interviewed you in person and stuff. Like, they could obviously be doing other things and spending time to make their businesses better and all that stuff. And, they get some marketing out of it, but it's more just like
Yeah.
getting to know them as a human. So,
Yeah. I think that both of us feel this way, but I'm not going to speak for you. I feel that the consistency of this podcast has been extremely good in my life, just generally. You haven't had a lot of changes in life, but I have, and this has always been there. And it's always been like Wednesday night, we're talking. And that's something that is really good for me. So, and it's
yeah.
grown our friendship, obviously. Um,
Yep.
we're not getting a divorce. No.
No. I think in a sense for me, it's probably, I don't really have a, I don't really have a, like I was talking about the talking in groups thing. It's not something that I would typically be one to lead conversation or volunteer information without
Yeah.
being prompted first. So this has been a way for me to kind of get out of my shell a little bit, out of the comfort zone a little bit, because you and I are just talking. It's just a
Yeah.
conversation with us, and it gets shared with other people. I mean, I am conscious that other people are going to hear it, but it lets me
Yeah.
vocalize my thoughts in a way that is like, you're there to, like, call bullshit if it's bullshit, or like ask follow-up questions, or like vocalize something that I'm not seeing or that I'm overthinking
Yeah.
or whatever. And I'm not typically going to do that in a group or in one-on-one conversations, because I guess I'm more guarded, or
Yeah.
I'm more like, I want to be prompted before I talk
You're a
about something. I don't
turtle.
want to just be leading
You're a
a
turtle.
topic.
You have a hard
Yeah.
shell.
So, yeah. And then when I'm around somebody that I'm comfortable with, like, I even noticed it when I was, I mean, I guess you just notice when you've been around people longer, but like the drive to the
And the
conference,
drive
to
back.
the workshop, and then the drive back from the workshop, like the discussion, you're kind of in, like, and Tony and Megan knew each other pretty well, but like, what you talk about, what you prompted conversations and, like, back and forth and asking, like, it's different on the way back
Mm-hmm.
than it was the way there. And it was like me getting a little more comfortable and talking about family and relationships and stuff like that. That's definitely different. Like, the more you get to know people, the
Yeah,
more open you are.
for sure.
So
100%.
yeah, that's been probably the most, like, noticeable thing for
I
me.
feel like we should end pretty soon, but I think that we should end with one of our favorite memories over the last 4 years during a recording.
Oh,
I know I sprung that on you.
that was a spring. I mean, I still like the one with Josh talking about Jesus
I was
making the
gonna
ponds or
say the
something.
same thing. I was gonna say the same thing.
Oh, really?
Because when we were talking to Josh, and I was like, what are we talking? We were talking about bentonite.
Yeah, and whether because it was like hard panning, and you were talking about whether the hard panning was good, and that's why they used it to line ponds.
Yeah, and I
with,
was like,
so
wait, are these Jesus ponds or are they like regular ponds? Because I didn't know if they were like natural ponds or if they were like man-made ponds.
Yeah.
So I called them Jesus ponds. Yeah, that was
from episode
that was early. 43.
43. Talking Glaze, June 20,
Wow.
2020. Wow.
Yeah, that was funny. I also will always remember the kerfuffle we had with the kilns. Oh,
Kiln
God.
venting, yes. That was right around the same time, actually.
We were spicy back then.
I feel like it was called Should 37. Yes. Number 37. Kiln venting. Becca explains what not to do.
Yeah. And I guess we can't forget our most memorable review from JDub17.
JDub17. Do you remember what it is?
I love the discussions talked about... Oh, wait. Shit.
It's on our website.
Something in the discussions talked about, however, I often question advice given by Becca, and her manners need a bit refined.
Yep, that's basically what it said. JDub17.
Will go down in history.
Yep. Good old J-Dub.
JW.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for listening to another episode. We'll put all the dates and everything if you want to come see Becca or myself or do some workshops. I'm guessing all those workshops are all in person that you're doing, right?
Yeah.
In person only.
And the throwing workshop is you have to know how to center. I am not fucking teaching somebody that doesn't know how to center how to pull a wall better, because then you don't know how to pull a wall. So you got to at least know how to center to be in the throwing workshop.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and then I'll be up at Machina Pottery Tour. You'll be there. And we'll be at the coffee festival, so yeah.
Sweet.
Should be
Gonna
good.
Be great. Cool.
All right. Thanks for 4 years, Becca.
Thanks for 4 years. It. Wow.
Here's to 4 more.
20 more. Bye.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Bye. All right. Hi, everybody. So we just ended our discussion about 4 years of Wheel Talk. And I don't know how long we went for that. Maybe 2 hours, but you're going to hear a little bit more. A little extra, little bonus content here.
Yeah, it's actually like 2 weeks later. But we asked for our 4-year anniversary thingy for some people. I don't even know what you asked. You should probably say.
I basically asked them to say, I recently listened to the Mud Peddlers where Lindsay and Dante were celebrating their 3 years, and they got some listeners to send them audio and video messages saying what they've enjoyed about the podcast or what they're looking forward to and stuff like that. So I was like, hey, that's a good idea. And they played it on the episode and reacted to it live, and I was like, that's a good idea. I really like that. So we did the same, asked for some audio, video. Basically, it was like, what have you gotten value out of? What were your favorite moments or funniest moments or whatever? And then, let us know what you get the most out of the listening. So I'm glad we had a little extra time because we got a couple extra people to submit stuff now that we've taken a little bit longer to record, because tomorrow's actually our anniversary. Or maybe it's today? Tomorrow?
23rd?
I thought it was 22nd. I don't know.
I don't know.
But, yeah, so we got 4 different folks that submitted things. Thank you so much, and we'll call you out and let you know who these people are, and some of them are probably going to be familiar. At least two of them are going to be familiar.
Yep.
And then, yeah. So thank y'all for sending them, and then we'll see how this goes with the recording and see. Hopefully y'all can hear everything and hear what they had to say. All right, you ready for the first one?
I'm ready.
All right, so the first one is from Tori Solis from Blue Nose Trading. Tori does a lot of sharing of our stories. She shares a lot of stories like the day that they come out. I know she listens pretty religiously, like when each episode comes out. So maybe it's her Saturday routine. But so she's from Blue Nose Trading, and I think she has a YouTube channel and does a lot of sharing of this kind of stuff. So let's hear what Tori said.
Hey Ryan and Becca, it's Tori from Blue Nose Trading, and I love an opportunity to tell you guys why your podcast is awesome. My favorite thing about the Wheel Talk podcast is hearing about all the different experiences and situations that different artists in different places have in their process and their work and their lives. The greatest thing that I've learned from this podcast is that there are so many different paths to success in selling your work. It's inspired me to forge a path that works for me, and I appreciate how authentic this podcast always is. I love listening to you guys talk about just whatever. It's easy listening and great radio for my studio. Congrats on 4 years, and thank you so much for everything you guys do to produce this.
Woohoo!
That was so good. And also, Tori, you have a great speaking voice. I feel like you need to host like an NPR podcast.
Yeah, that was very good. She, I believe she left one for Lindsay and Dante too, and it was like perfect as well. It was like, I think Lindsay was like, "Yes, your voice is great audio," you know.
Yeah.
So she had the same comment.
You used foraging in a regular sentence, which I feel like was really respectable.
Yes. That's awesome. Yeah, so it sounds like she listens in the studio, it sounds like, so.
That's awesome. This is so fun and weird, and also makes me want to have people send in recordings of questions.
I know, I was like playing around with that idea back in the day, and I was like, are people going to be, are they going to remember to do it? How do they do it easily where it doesn't get lost or they feel like self-conscious? Some people are self-conscious of hearing their voice, so like that's a factor. Yeah. And then feeling like you can summarize it in a clean way that you don't have to like record yourself multiple times and send it. And then if you did it through Instagram, would we lose the audio? Sometimes you can lose audio sometimes, and it's not saved or whatever, so it's like, I don't know. But awesome. All right, thanks, Tori.
Awesome. Thanks, Tori.
All right, next one comes from Cindy at Green Cabin Pottery.
We know Cindy.
We know Cindy. We just talked to Cindy back on episode. Do you know the episode? You probably don't know the episode.
No.
It was number 205, the live Q&A with Cindy from Green Cabin Pottery.
Nice.
So, yeah, Cindy always sends us a bunch of questions. We chatted with her on that episode about her art show setup and like items to take and inventory to take. So, all right, let's see what she said.
Hey Ryan and Becca, it's Cindy here. You guys are the GOAT podcast for pottery nerds. My pottery journey started in 2017 and has blown up. What I've enjoyed is learning from and with you along the way. I started listening to your podcasts while on a road trip to Southern Ontario to pick up more pottery supplies about 2 years ago. I love the banter and the pre-game warm-up as you review your week. Ryan, you are the yin to Becca's yang. As podcast hosts, you gel really well, and it makes for some very interesting conversations, of which I feel like a fly on the studio wall. I usually wait until Sunday morning while in my workshop to listen to Saturday's latest podcast release. I appreciate the company, since potters are few and far between here in my Northern Ontario location. I've learned so much about the business aspect of pottery. markets, wholesale, custom orders from your discussions. There's also so much about studio work, throwing, kilns, hotkilns.com, glazes. You guys rock. Your honesty and comprehensive responses have helped me immensely to improve my business and my productivity. Keep it up. There's a gem in every podcast. Thanks for the 4 years, and may there be many more. Live long and prosper. See ya.
Cindy, my fellow Trekkie.
That was great. Her pacing was like perfect there. It was so like.
I know. She was well rehearsed as well, man. Oof. Oh, I was gonna say that Cindy, last week, she messaged me and she was like, I'm in Monroe. And I was like, wow.
She messaged
And then
me too. She said something about here in Charles.
yeah, she was like, I think I hear Charles. And then 2 days later she was in Fort Benton, Montana, which is where my mom grew up.
Oh, really?
Which, like a town of 1,200 people. It's like nothing.
Wow.
So,
did she tell you that? And she knew that was already like a link with you?
no,
Or
I saw it in her stories.
Oh, did you let her know that that's where your mom grew up?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was just crazy. Anyway, thank you so much, Cindy. That was very cute.
Thank you. Yeah, that was great. All right. Next one is Ashley from Boldover Ceramics, which you all, you would have heard the episode by now.
I would have hoped you all know who she is because we talk about her all the time.
Yes. So that was episode 212. Live Q&A with Ashley from Boldover Ceramics. She helps us out with the Instagram account, along with Lindy Garner from Lindy Garner Ceramics. And yeah, so let's hear what Ashley had to say.
Hi, Becca and Ryan. This is Ashley with Boldover Ceramics. I've been listening to Wheel Talk ever since you guys first started with it, and I absolutely love listening to it. It's definitely a great way for me to have a community in my studio, especially being a home studio and not really having much of a community in my location, especially when I was very rural Colorado. Some of my favorite episodes so far have been ones with like Link from Kentucky Mudworks and Deanna about show applications, because I know it's things I can help bring into the practice of my business as well. When you guys put out a call to help with the Instagram, I was more than willing to step on that because I felt that it also helped bring me closer to my pottery community. And I've been loving being able to help you guys out with this endeavor. And the 4 years listening to you guys has been absolutely amazing. And I can't wait for another 4.
Awesome.
Yay. And we love you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Ashley.
It's been awesome. I've been actually in person a few times, or 1 time, 2 times, 1 time. I don't know. But
I don't remember I don't think I might have met her once, or maybe I haven't met her, but I just remember, maybe it was from photos with you, I realized like how tall she is. That's something I didn't realize. Yeah.
Yeah, and like, I don't know, I feel like we've known Ashley so long that I feel like we've met her, you know?
That's where I'm like, oh, I feel bad if I did and don't remember what the scenario was, but regardless, I'm like, I feel like, yeah, you feel like you know somebody so well because even though you talk through like social media mostly, it's, you know.
Yeah.
And the Link episode she was talking about, that was episode 95, and that was so long ago. We need to have Link back on and talk with her again.
No.
That was in June of 2021. And then the Deanna one was more recently. That was 208. Optimizing your show application. So that was Deanna when Glazed and Confused Creations from when we were in Berea back in July. So yeah. All right, we have one more. One more. It is Jill from Lilikoi Project. So let's see what Jill had to say. This is a video, so you're gonna miss the video, but you'll hear the audio part, Becca. So
okay.
Hey Becca, hey Ryan, happy anniversary. My name is Jill. I'm a Chicagoland-based artist. My business is called Lilakoi Project. I'm actually just getting started with building my own at-home pottery studio, and Wheel Talk has been such an incredibly helpful resource to me. As I learn about different equipment that I need, how to operate my L&L kiln, different things to look out for in a glaze firing, vitrification. There's so many things that I'm still learning so much about, and your podcast has really been so empowering and so helpful. One episode I really loved recently was around the topic of in-person markets. So I'm actually preparing for my very first in-person market in a few weeks, and I loved how you chatted through like what to bring, how much inventory, how to pack stuff, how to set up your booth. These are all things that I am just trying to understand and get a sense of, and I'm really grateful that you were willing to share your expertise on that. I really love all the different guests that you have on as well. There's some really incredible artists out there that you speak to, and you all have so much grace for newer potters and helping people. So thank you so much for all that you do, and I look forward to continuing to listen to Wheel Talk.
Awesome.
Is she just like a cute human? Because she sounds like a cute human.
Yes.
Okay.
Here,
I was gonna say that, like, well, first off, thank you so much. That was I love that.
Here's Jill, if you can see her.
Oh God, that's pretty much exactly how I pictured her. Anyway, I was thinking about like how I kind of wish that I had a podcast like this when I was just starting out, because of like how many things I did wrong and how many things I did that were potentially like dangerous to myself because I just didn't know. And
yeah. I feel like something is as commonplace that we talk about, like selling at art shows, is so, it feels like we've beaten that drum so much that there's still people that are coming in. For one, they're new to the podcast, so they might not have heard us talk about those topics before. And like, how likely are they going to dig back into the archives like 2.5 years ago to some episode about art shows? And then two, like, they're just getting started with selling at art shows besides just like finding the podcast. So, you know, some people, maybe they're just online only and they've been finding a groove, but they want to try the art shows, and it gives them more tools to like understand what they're getting themselves into, and hearing from different people what they sell.
And also, one more thing I feel the need to like kind of cap this out with is that, like, I feel like a lot of podcasts like don't record every single week. And one thing that I feel really proud about is like when we say we've been doing it for 4 years, we've been doing it every single week for 4 years. And like
for 2 hours every week for 4 years, at least 2 hours.
Like 200, and I think we're on 217, episode 217, and that's fucking wild.
That's 434 hours if it's 2 hours at a time.
It probably averages out to about that.
Yeah.
That's just absolutely insane to me.
That's a lot. Yeah. And I'm happy Jill was submitted that as a newer listener, because I was expecting that we were going to get a lot of like the MVP, you know, the MVL, most valuable listeners, the folks that like have been with us the longest. But it's nice to hear somebody newer as well that is finding value in it, even though we feel like, at least sometimes I feel like the content can be a little bit of a lull on some episodes that are more recent, because I feel like we've covered so much in the past that but there's still, I guess, gems or things that we can share that are still valuable on a regular basis, even though it's, you know, to me it seems like it's harder to come by with intention. But that's where I think like talking to others, how they run their businesses and interview, we can kind of dig into some of those questions that maybe others might not ask. And I think having that rapport with people gives us the confidence and the comfortability for them to be able to share that and willing to share those insights that are really valuable for people wherever they're at, whether they're brand new or they're more experienced. Like, I do think it's nice to be able to have insights from more experienced people that, you know, any level of skills could get value out of some of the episodes versus just you have to be brand new to feel like it's worth your time.
Yeah, for sure. Wow. 4 years.
Those are great.
My life is definitely better because of it. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah. I agree.
100%. Well, I guess that's it.
I feel like Cindy even threw a little, Jill threw a little L&L in there, didn't she?
Both of them did.
Jill said the L&L and Cindy, hot count.
Cindy did my little tag. Hot count.
Oh, man. Whew. So I don't know where we're going in the next 4 years, but we'll see how it evolves and shifts, and we'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah.
But for sure, we'll have an episode next week. So.
Yep. We've already got a few in the bank.
Yep.
All right. Anything else?
Nope.
No. Thanks everybody for sending those. Yeah, I like this shifting and adjusting and just trying things out. Like the live Q&As have been fun to get more engagement, and then you got this where you can hear people's voices. It feels more connected. And then I don't know if you get this when you travel, but like seeing people in person, like I'm getting way more in depth, like back and forth with people.
Yeah.
Because of the podcast, and then it makes me want to like do more of that socially with like workshops or something like that where we can talk to people more.
Yeah.
In like an in-person setting. I feel like it's, you and I have this back and forth and people can hear it, but having that ability to talk with listeners that have their own situations and contextual like questions, I think is something that I'd like to continue to do. So
for sure.
Yeah, I hope the soda kiln build thing is like one of those things that we can, like, I would love to have people come here and experiment with me while I'm trying to figure the soda stuff out, and like I think that'd be awesome. So maybe that's an opportunity.
Yeah.
We can do something like that.
I'm excited. Yee!
All right. This will be the official end of the episode. So
official end.
For listening this far, and we'll catch you next time. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye. Hey everybody, thanks for listening to another episode of Wheel Talk. This podcast is made possible through the contributions of all of our listeners who always ask us great questions, leave us reviews, and contact with us through social media. Thanks to all the fellow makers as well who take time to be interviewed and share about their lives and businesses.
And thank you to Ashley from Boldover Ceramics and Lindy from Lindy Garner Ceramics for their assistance on the Wheel Talk Podcast Instagram. You are invaluable. Thank you to everybody.